More than half a century has passed since North by Northwest was created, yet every frame still holds the breath of Hollywood's golden age. Amidst the brilliant lights and the perfectly tailored suits, we see the smile of Cary Grant, the sharp gaze of James Mason, seemingly immortal icons. However, when the camera stops rolling behind that glamour, our weary hearts, souls lost between fame and loneliness. And that is the true tragedy, the tragedy after the spotlight. Cary Grant as Roger O. Thornhill. The debonair smile. Hiding solitude. Born Archibald Alexander Leach on January 18, 1904 in Bristol, England. Cary Grant was the embodiment of classic elegance. Slicked back hair, a confident smile, and eyes that charmed the world. In 1959, at the age of 55, he played Roger O. Thornhill in North by Northwest. The man accidentally swept into a spy conspiracy due to mistaken identity. The role was simultaneously dramatic and humorous, perfectly reflecting Grant's image off-screen, a seemingly steadfast gentleman who was always inwardly uncertain about himself. Behind the camera, Cary Grant was not the suave person the public imagined. He grew up with childhood trauma. His mother was placed in a mental hospital when he was just 9 years old, and his father concealed the truth for many years. That very shock created an perpetually anxious soul. Even standing in the spotlight, Grant still felt small and unloved completely. He married 5 times but never found long-lasting happiness. A close friend said he acted even when the camera wasn't rolling, because if he stopped acting, he would have to face the emptiness inside. Cary Grant passed away on November 29, 1986 in Davenport, Iowa, aged 82, due to a stroke while on a lecture tour. He was cremated, and his ashes interred privately according to his wishes, without a lavish funeral. His estate was estimated at around $60 million US, a large figure but insufficient to fill a lifetime of loneliness. People still remember him as a legend of the smile that made the world believe in glamour while he only wished to believe that he was truly loved. James Mason as Phillip Vandamm. Cold intellect, between good and evil. Born on May 15, 1909 in Huddersfield, England, James Mason was not raised to be a villain. He studied architecture, was passionate about painting and philosophy, fields that nurtured a sharp, insightful view of people rather than judging them. Perhaps this is what made him a special villain, intelligent, composed, almost reasonable in doing wrong. When embodying Phillip Vandamm in North by Northwest, Mason was at the height of his mature career. Without shouting or maniacal laughter, he instilled fear with his eyes and a voice as gentle as mist, yet as sharp as a knife. Hitchcock once said, "James Mason is the kind of villain you can't help but like." And indeed, his character Vandamm is proof the villain also has his own rationale, knows how to love and how to be hurt. Off-screen, Mason was the private person, choosing a life away from the clamor of Hollywood. He loved England, loved silence, but his marriage failed after many years of strain. His life resembled his role, cold exterior turmoil inside. He passed away in 1984 at the age of 75, leaving a substantial estate, but more importantly, a career spanning over half a century without a single shallow performance. James Mason once said, "Evil is interesting because it's the other side of reason." Perhaps that is why, though time has passed, his image, the man with calm eyes and a hypnotizing voice, still haunts Hollywood as a reminder that sometimes evil is just another form of human loneliness. Adam Williams as Valerian, the silent soldier in Hollywood's shadow. Born Adam William Berg on November 26, 1922, in Wall Lake, Iowa, USA. Adam Williams was a man with a composed appearance, cold eyes, and a disciplined demeanor. Before turning to film, he served in the United States Navy during World War II, fighting in many Pacific campaigns. Perhaps that brutal experience forged his characteristic toughness and coldness on screen. In 1959, at the age of 36, Williams appeared in North by Northwest as Valerian, one of the loyal henchmen of the antagonist Phillip Vandamm. Despite his brief screen time, he left a strong impression on the audience with his sharp presence and precision in every gesture. The kind of few words, much gravity acting that Hitchcock adored. But Adam Williams' life bore an entirely different color from that tough exterior. After the war, he returned with lingering trauma and chronic insomnia, psychological wounds he never spoke of. Cinema became a refuge, but when the glamour faded, he fell into a long silence. Williams never regained the stature he had in the 1950s. In his final years, he lived in seclusion, rarely making public appearances. He passed away on December 4, 2006, at the age of 84 in Los Angeles, California, from natural causes. His body was cremated, and his ashes interred privately according to his family's wishes. His assets upon death were estimated at around $2 million, mostly savings from his years of hard work. Adam Williams, the soldier who went through war and cinema, passed away quietly just as he lived, without fanfare, without grandeur, leaving only glances as sharp as steel amidst the shadows of Hollywood. Leo G. Carroll as the Professor. The lonely secret keeper in the light. Born in Weedon Beck, Northamptonshire, England, on October 25, 1886, Leo Grattan Carroll possessed the elegance of the old aristocracy, a composure rarely seen in the bustling Hollywood of the 1950s. He began his career on the English stage, then came to the U.S. after World War II, already past the age of 50. By 1959, at the age of 73, Carroll appeared in Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest, playing the Professor, the mysterious man orchestrating the spy game. The role, though having few lines, became one of the icons of silent intelligence in classic cinema, beloved by the audience for its calm and profoundly human authority. Yet behind that impeccable facade lay a weary soul. Carroll lived through both world wars, losing many friends and relatives back home. He arrived in Hollywood when his youth was nearly spent, feeling lost in a world where everything revolved around glamour and scandal. Childless, unmarried, and without scandal, he lived a secluded life, hesitant about the changes of the era. Colleagues who worked with him recalled that he would often sit silently for hours after a scene, his eyes gazing into the distance, as if conversing with unforgettable memories. Leo G. Carroll passed away on October 16, 1972, at the age of 85, just days before his 86th birthday. The recorded cause was old age and lung disease. He rests at Glendale Forest Lawn Cemetery, California, where many Hollywood legends sleep. His assets upon death were not clearly disclosed, estimated to be modest compared to contemporary stars. But what he left behind is more precious. The image of the silent man carrying in his eyes the loneliness of one who understood the world better than anyone. Jessie Royce Landis as Clara Thornhill, the gentle mother in life's final season. She was born Jessie Medbury on November 25, 1896, in Chicago, Illinois. Dedicated to the Broadway stage all her life, Jessie Royce Landis was the rare type of actor who was remembered not for her beauty, but for her presence, refined, intelligent, and slightly gently ironic. When she appeared in North by Northwest in 1959, she was 62 years old, playing Clara Thornhill, Roger Thornhill's mother, a mother who was witty, warm, and knew how to conceal anxiety behind light-hearted remarks. This role made the audience love her as an icon of American motherhood, confident, sensitive, and full of compassion. Yet behind those moments of laughter was a heart with many cracks. Jessie had gone through a broken marriage, lost her young son, and lived with illness for many years. Backstage, she was always cheerful, hiding chronic pain from heart and lung disease. Many colleagues remember that after moments of hearty laughter, Jessie often fell silent for a long time, her eyes looking far away, as if knowing she did not have much time left to stand under the lights. Jessie Royce Landis passed away on February 2, 1972, at the age of 75 in Danbury, Connecticut, after a long battle with cancer. She was buried at Cemetery of the Highlands, Chester, New York. Her assets were not large, only about $1 million, mostly dedicated to theatrical and charitable funds. But the true value she left is the image of the exemplary mother, not just in the film, but in the hearts of those who saw her smile and then suddenly realized that behind that smile was an autumn that had already faded. Josephine Hutchinson as Mrs. Townsend, The Gentlewoman Between Two Worlds. Born Josephine Hutchinson on October 12, 1903 in Seattle, Washington, USA, she was one of the beautiful and refined faces of classic cinema. In 1959, at the age of 56, she played Mrs. Townsend in North by Northwest, the aristocratic wife who appeared dignified but was actually a pawn in Hitchcock's spy game. Although a supporting role, Josephine made audiences remember her elegant, soft voice and eyes that always concealed something unspoken, as if both the character and she herself were living within a polite shell to hide personal sorrow. Hutchinson's career once shone brightly on the Broadway stage before she came to Hollywood, but it was also quickly damaged by social prejudice. In the 1930s, she was labeled scandalous due to her romantic relationship with female director Eva Le Gallienne, something unacceptable during that conservative era. The scandal closed many doors, forcing her to withdraw from the center, accepting only supporting roles or television work. She never complained publicly, only smiled and said, "I chose silence because noise saves no one's soul." Josephine Hutchinson passed away on June 4, 1998. At the age of 94 in Manhattan, New York. She was cremated, and her ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Cemetery, Glendale, California. Her assets upon death were estimated at around $1.5 million, modest for a life dedicated to art. Amidst the noisy world of Hollywood, Hutchinson was a flower that bloomed in silence, beautiful, proud, and carrying the loneliness of a woman who dared to love in her own way. Martin Landau, as Leonard, the gaze of the unseen man. Born in Brooklyn, New York on June 20, 1928, Martin James Landau grew up in an immigrant Jewish family during a period when the world was full of panic and fear. When he joined North by Northwest in 1959, he was only 31 years old, a young, sharp face playing Leonard, the loyal but suspicious aide to the antagonist Phillip Vandamm. Although a supporting role, Landau sent shivers down the audience's spine with just a glance. Leonard was not purely evil. He was lonely, yearning to be seen by someone. And the bitter truth was, so was Martin Landau. Off-screen, Landau always felt forgotten. He was once an artist for the New York Daily News, quit to pursue acting, was accepted into the actor's studio alongside James Dean, only to witness his friend become a legend while he was lost in Hollywood's shadow. In the 1970s, Landau nearly vanished from the film map, taking mid-level television roles to make ends meet. He once said, "Failure didn't kill me, it just prolonged the pain." In the end, life showed him kindness. In 1995, Landau won an Oscar for Ed Wood at the age of over 60, like a late atonement from Hollywood. But that belated glory could not erase the deep-seated loneliness. Martin Landau passed away on July 15, 2017 at the age of 89 due to cardiovascular complications and was interred at Westwood Memorial Park Cemetery, Los Angeles. His assets were estimated at around $10 million, modest compared to the stature of a legend. He once said, "I don't want to be remembered as a winner. Remember me as someone who didn't quit." And that is the truest story of Martin Landau. Phillip Ober, as Lester Townsend, the gentleman of swapped identity and fate. Born Phillip N. Ober on March 23, 1902 in Fort Payne, Alabama, he was not the typical actor born for fame. Tall, mature, and with a trustworthy face, Ober was the type of gentleman behind the scenes, someone the audience trusted but whose name few remembered. In North by Northwest, 1959, at the age of 57, he played Lester Townsend, a respected diplomat, who was mistaken for a spy in Hitchcock's fateful game. The role was brief, but the character's tragedy, being misidentified, being drawn into a web of lies, reflected Phillip Ober's own real-life story. Ober's life was not smooth. Despite a stable career on stage and television, he was always overshadowed by his famous wife, actress Vivian Vance, star of I Love Lucy. Their marriage, which seemed perfect, was filled with violence and hurt. Vivian once revealed that Ober was controlling, jealous, and vented his anger due to feeling left behind by his wife's spotlight. Eventually, they divorced, and he nearly vanished from Hollywood, carrying a reputation tarnished by his own rage. Philip Ober passed away on September 13, 1982, at the age of 80 in Mexico due to cardiac arrest. He was cremated according to his personal wishes, and the location of his ashes was not disclosed. His assets upon death were estimated at less than $1 million, mostly spent during his final lonely years in a foreign land. Like his character Lester Townsend, Philip Ober was a man who was neither evil nor weak, just a man mistaken between illusion and reality and ultimately consumed by both. Malcolm Atterbury as Man at the Crossroads. The man standing on the edge of the light. Born Malcolm Atterbury on February 20, 1907 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he came from a well-to-do family with an artistic tradition. He came to acting late after working as a sound engineer for the stage. When he appeared in North by Northwest 1959, Atterbury was 52 years old, playing the man at the bus stop at the Crossroads, a character so minor that many viewers do not remember his name, yet he was the first link to witness the film's classic chase. Though only appearing briefly, Atterbury left an impression with his authentic everyday look and sincere expressions, bringing the breath of real people to Hitchcock's dramatic world. His entire career consisted of supporting roles like this, few lines, little glamour, but full of soul. Malcolm Atterbury's tragedy lies in the fact that he was the person who made every film feel more alive, but was never truly remembered. He once confessed, "I don't have the face of a hero, but I have the heart of a storyteller." That statement reflects his entire life dedicated, humble, and sometimes lonely. While contemporaries rose to fame, he diligently continued acting in television commercials and theater purely out of love for the art. Malcolm Atterbury passed away on August 16, 1992 at the age of 85 in Beverly Hills, California, from natural causes. He was cremated and his ashes placed at Forest Lawn Cemetery, Glendale, where many Hollywood legends rest. His assets upon death were estimated at about $500,000, mostly saved from supporting roles. Perhaps he was never a star. But without the men standing on the edge of the light, like Malcolm Atterbury, Hollywood would never have felt so real. Edward Platt as Victor Larrabee Laughter, fading into silence. Edward Cuthbert Platt was born on February 14, 1916, in Staten Island, New York, possessing an intellectual appearance and composed presence. When he joined North by Northwest in 1959 at the age of 43, he played Victor Larrabee, the refined intermediary standing firm amidst complex conspiracies both powerful and torn by the secrets surrounding him. Despite a brief appearance, Platt's sharp eyes and deep voice made the character unforgettable, as if he knew more than what was revealed. His life off-screen also bore a melancholic hue. Platt was famous for his role as the Chief in Get Smart, but that spotlight did not soothe his prolonged loneliness. He struggled with depression, broken relationships, and the feeling of being forgotten as Hollywood changed. Colleagues recalled that after a scene, Platt would often stand silently looking into the distance as if reminding himself that although the audience laughed on screen, his heart remained solitary. On March 19, 1974, Edward Platt passed away in Santa Monica, aged 58, the official cause being heart failure, but those close to him revealed that prolonged depression also contributed to his death. He was cremated, and his ashes kept privately according to his wishes. His net worth upon death was estimated at around $500,000, modest compared to the artistic impact he left. Edward Platt is proof that even those who stand firm on screen, powerful and authoritative, can carry profound loneliness in their hearts, a silent tragedy existing behind the audience's laughter. Ken Lynch as Charlie the Shadow behind the spotlight. Born on July 15, 1910 in Paterson, New Jersey, Ken Lynch was the typical image of the dedicated but lesser-known supporting actor. Amidst the lights and conspiracies of North by Northwest, Charlie appeared as the embodiment of an actor 49 years old who had accumulated a lifetime of experience in important supporting roles. His composed manner, firm voice, and slightly weary eyes made the character, despite his brief appearance, unforgettable, as if he carried his entire life behind the role. In real life, Ken Lynch lived much like Charlie, quietly and persistently. He faced the pressure of maintaining a career in Hollywood where supporting actors were easily forgotten. Although he acted in many films and television shows, the stage light rarely focused on him, and his loneliness deepened. Co-stars recounted that Lynch often stood alone after a scene, looking into the void, as if to remind himself that the value of a lifetime of dedication is not always recognized. Ken Lynch passed away on February 13, 1990, at the age of 79 in Los Angeles, California, due to heart disease. He was cremated and his ashes kept privately according to his family's wishes. His net worth upon death was estimated at $1 million, mostly from diligent supporting roles and long-term television work. Charlie and Ken Lynch in real life are proof of those who stand on the periphery of the spotlight. They provide depth to the story, bring emotion, but their tragedy is being forgotten despite giving their entire lives. Tremayne as Auctioneer, the man who conducted the bidding rhythm. Amidst the resounding hammer and the murmurs of the auction room, a warm, deep voice guided everything, seemingly freezing time. That was Tremayne, born in Chicago in 1913, who brought vital rhythm to every detail in North by Northwest. When he entered Hitchcock's world of intrigue, Tremayne was nearly 46 years old, and the role of the auctioneer, though brief, set the pace for the entire scene. Just with his voice, his emphasis, and his observant gaze, he created tension and suspense, as if every hammer strike followed the rhythm of his own heart. But Tremayne's real life was not just about hammers and spotlights. He dedicated his entire life to radio art television, and the stage, always the one setting the rhythm, yet rarely shining under a personal spotlight. Tremayne's tragedy was not loneliness or oblivion, but the pressure to always be perfect, to conduct everything, yet never to be fully noticed. Colleagues recounted that after recording sessions, Tremayne often stood silently alone, closing his eyes, as if feeling the entire world resting on his performance. Tremayne passed away on December 19, 2003, at the age of 90 in Los Angeles, California, from natural causes. He was cremated and his ashes interred according to his family's wishes. His net worth upon death was estimated at around $2 million accumulated from a lifetime of dedication to art. In North by Northwest, Tremayne was the invisible yet vibrant heartbeat. In real life, his tragedy was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, yet smiling silently but wholly, like the rhythm he conducted throughout his life. Robert Ellenstein as Licht. The fading light of a dim face. The door to the living room opened, and in that moment, a face flashed past, leaving a feeling that was both familiar and strange. That was Robert Ellenstein, born on June 18, 1923, in New York City. When he participated in North by Northwest, Ellenstein was 36 years old, bringing a rich acting experience from the Broadway stage, but still a face not truly recognized by the public. The role of Licht was small, but Ellenstein infused it with a subtle intensity, simultaneously threatening and fragile, as if foreshadowing the impending uncertainty. His life off-screen also held its own uncertainties. Ellenstein was always a talented actor, but stood in the shadow of major stars, his desire to be remembered often overshadowed. Supporting roles followed one after another. The spotlight flashed but never stayed, leaving him with a simmering loneliness. Ellenstein's tragedy was not just oblivion, but the feeling of always striving, yet never being truly seen. He once confided, "I lived in the light of others, but I myself remained dim." Robert Ellenstein passed away on October 28, 2010, at the age of 87 in Burbank, California, from natural heart disease. He was cremated and his ashes kept privately according to his family's wishes. His assets upon death were estimated at around $1 million, mostly from supporting roles in film and television. Robert Ellenstein is a testament to the dim but important faces. Although the light shining was not meant for him, he still brought life, emotion, and depth to every scene, the tragedy of an artist who was always present right in the spotlight. Edward Binns as Captain Junket. The weary toughness. In the dim light of an unfamiliar office, the character appeared with serious, composed eyes and a powerful presence. That was Edward Binns, born on September 12, 1916 in New York City. When he took on the role of Captain Junket in North by Northwest, Binns was 43 years old, bringing both the experience and maturity from the military and legal roles he had played for years. Captain Junket was not just a supporting character, but the voice of law and order in the storm of conspiracy, reflecting Binns's own composed yet pressured demeanor. Edward Binns' life off-screen also contained silent pressures. Although respected within the acting community, he always felt like a person standing between two worlds. His talent and responsibility were recognized, but his personal self was left behind the lights. His serious, severe roles brought success, but also typecast him, limiting opportunities to fully express himself. Colleagues once remarked that Binns rarely smiled backstage, as if he carried a burden his whole life that was never soothed. Edward Binns passed away on December 4, 1990, at the age of 74 in Los Angeles, California, due to heart disease. He was cremated, and his ashes kept according to his family's wishes. His net worth upon death was estimated at around $1 million, primarily from his persistent career in film and television. Edward Binns is proof that even the strong, severe characters on screen carry their own tragedy, dedicating their entire lives, but being rarely seen, authoritative yet lonely, a lifetime of artistry standing between light and shadow. Phillip Coolidge as Dr. Cross. The intellectual amidst the shadows. The stage lights softly illuminated a serious face, intelligence clearly visible in his eyes. That was Phillip Coolidge, born on August 25, 1908 in Methuen, Massachusetts. When he joined North by Northwest, Coolidge was 51 years old, playing Dr. Cross, an intellectual and balanced figure amidst complex conspiracies. His composed manner, precise articulation, and keen observational eyes made Dr. Cross one of the film's moral anchors, despite appearing only for a few moments. Coolidge's real life was not simple. Despite his high education and respect, he always lived in the shadow of more famous people, sometimes feeling his ability and dedication were not truly acknowledged. His persistent career, filled with intellectual, serious roles, brought him credibility, but also limited the chance to fully reveal his true personality. Coolidge's tragedy lies in the feeling of being constrained, standing between light and shadow, striving to contribute but never truly shining fully. Phillip Coolidge passed away on May 23, 1967, at the age of 58 from heart disease in Boston, Massachusetts. He was cremated and his ashes kept privately according to his family's wishes. His net worth upon death was estimated at around $400,000, mostly from his career on stage and television. Phillip Coolidge is proof that even for the intellectuals standing firm amidst the storm of conspiracy, their tragedy can be living in limited recognition, dedicating their lives fully, but being obscure in the public eye, a melancholic figure behind the spotlight. Looking back at North by Northwest, it is hard to forget the moments of tension, suspense, and humor on screen, but the story behind that light is much deeper. The faces that brought the film to life, every step, gaze, and voice of theirs, contained separate lives, sometimes full of tragedy, sometimes silently struggling in the shadows. Cary, Grant, James Mason, Les Tremayne, Robert Ellenstein. Each person was a separate heartbeat, an untold story. Some left this world early, abandoning loneliness or invisible pressure. Others lived through a brief spotlight, but all left an indelible mark. The smiles, the laughter, the moments of suspense on screen now merge with real-life memories, both beautiful and regrettable. They remind us that fame and glamour are merely the surface, while the real person inside holds sorrows, sacrifices, and resilience. Every glance, every role is a testament to the love of art, to dedication, and to the silent struggles that audiences rarely see. Take a moment to remember them, the people who contributed to a masterpiece, to appreciate not just their roles, but their entire lives. And if this film still lives in your heart, share the character you remember most, so that these emotional backstage stories continue to be told.